Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. Hope you all are fine. My dear students, this is your week number 6 and we are going to start our lesson number 6. Let's take a recap of our previous lecture, that what we had learned in our previous lecture. My dear students, the previous lesson was Pakistan's exports and imports. In the previous lecture, we learned about the Pakistan's big 5 exports, about the rice, rayon, and cotton. We learned about the sports equipment and the carpets in the previous lecture. We learned about the imports of Pakistan, that Pakistan is an agricultural country. So Pakistan have to import the manufactured products from the different countries. We also learned about the invisible exports and import of Pakistan. That what are the invisible exports and import. My dear students, let's talk about the previous week homework. That what was the home task of the previous week. There were 2 short question answers in the previous week. The first was, what is trade surplus and what is trade deficit? These were the last 2 short question answers of exports and import of Pakistan. The answers of these 2 questions were defined in the previous lecture. Let's come to today's lecture. This is from history, chapter number 13, the United Nations. That is on page number 100. My dear students, let's talk about the objectives of the United Nations. You will be able to explain the reasons for the foundation of the United Nations and the lessons from the failure of the League of Nations. You will learn about the structure of the United Nations. In this chapter, you will study the organization of the Islamic Conference. You will learn about the League of Arab States, studying the role of the United Nations, that what is the role of the United Nations. Brief knowledge of Organization of Islamic Conference, the Arab League, and the RCD, Regional Cooperation Development, their function and the achievements of the RCD. Okay, my dear students, can anyone tell me that how many people were killed in World War I? Yes, more than 15 million people were killed in World War I. My second question is, when did the First World War started? The First World War was started in 1914 and it was ended in 1918. These are the dates of the World War I. Now, come to World War I. In World War I, that was started in 1914 and it was ended in 1918. More than 15 million people that were mainly soldiers died. Twice as many were wounded and billions of dollars worth of damage was caused of towns, cities, industries, and agriculture. These are the dates of the World War I that was started in 28th July 1914 and it was ended on 11th November 1918. What were the reason behind the League of Nations? That why the League of Nations was founded? Some countries, at the suggestion of the United States of America, they said that such a war should never happen again because there were many destruction in World War I. So an international organization called the League of Nations was set up to try to prevent future conflicts. Right? This is the reason behind the League of Nations, that why the League of Nations was founded. There were departments that were set up by the League of Nations, and the names of the departments are to look at social affairs and to stop slavery and drug trading, to put shipping on a world basis, to have a court of international justice in Holland, to settle the dispute between the countries instead of fighting. So these are the departments that were set up by the League of Nations. How many nations joined the League of Nations? Unfortunately, the world was not ready for such an organization in 1920s, and only the 63 nations that joined the League of Nations. There were just only 63 nations that joined the League of Nations. This is the picture you can see. These are the member states of the United Nations. There were only 63 nations in 1920s that joined the League of Nations. What were the controls of the League of Nations? The USA never joined, nor did Russia for a long time. These both countries never joined the League of Nations. If the League criticized any country, it just left. The League had no forces to try to control nations, and all it could do was to impose sanctions. That is to get the other nation to refuse to trade. Of course, if any country stopped supplying weapons or oil to a country at war, there were plenty of non-members only to please to do so. These were also the reasons of the failures of the League of Nations. Club of Western Nations. The League of the Nations was really a club of Western nations. A few of the European countries held all the power, right? These are the flag of the countries of the Western European countries. World War II. World War II was started in 1939 and it was ended in 1945. League of the Nations failed completely to stop World War II, which broke out only after 20 years of the World War I. That when the World War was ended, that after 20 years, the World War II was started. Which were the departments which were successful? In most ways, the League of the Nations was a completely failure. But some of its departments, such as the Court of International Justice, that was very good. And it was taken over by the United Nations. Then when happened the creation of the United Nations? League of Nations was abolished in 1946, right? When the United Nations was created at that time. This organization recognized that in order to be successful in its mission, it needed the support of the world's powerful nations. This is the symbol of the United Nations. What were the strength of the United Nations? The strength of these organizations comes from its universal membership. Today, 193 countries are members of the United Nations. There are only 6 countries which did not belong to the United Nations. 4 are the tiny islands that are the states in the Pacific, which are too small and two, for the political reasons, didn't join the United Nations. These two are Taiwan, which the United Nations considered that it is the part of the China, and the Vatican City. Switzerland, which for many centuries has always remained neutral, but now it is the member state of the United Nations, and it joined in September 2002. This is the headquarters of the United Nations. What is the structure of the United Nations? The structure of the United Nations is, these are the departments of the United Nations that are working. First is the General Assembly. This is the picture of the General Assembly. You can see in this picture. The second one is the Security Council. Look at this picture. The third one is the Secretariat. This is the building of the Secretariat. The fourth one is the Economic and the Social Council. Next one is the International Court of Justice. This was the department of the League of the Nation, and then it was taken over by the United Nations, right? Its headquarters is in Holland. So let's talk about the General Assembly, the first department of the United Nations, right? It is the main body of the United Nations. And how many members it has? It has 193 member countries. Each member country, regardless to its size, has one vote, right? Every member country have one vote. Again, I am repeating that it is the main body of the United Nations. It has 193 member countries, and each member country, regardless to its size, has one vote. What are the responsibilities of the General Assembly? The General Assembly undertakes all major discussions and decisions about issues that are raised for consideration. It also provides a platform for countries to present ideas and debate issues. These are the responsibilities of the General Assembly. Annual sessions of the General Assembly. The General Assembly meets annually in regular sessions, but some special meetings are also called to deal with emergencies or specific urgent issues. A new president is elected at every regular sessions to preside over the assembly. Next one is the Security Council. It is also the most powerful body, a kind of cabinet for the United Nations. This is the second department of the United Nations. Which was the first department? That was the General Assembly. The second one, now we are talking about the Security Council, right? This is the picture of the Security Council. Members of the Security Council, let's talk about the members of the Security Council. It has 5 permanent members. The first one is China. The second one is Russia. The third one is France, the USA, and the UK. Why these 5 countries are the permanent members of the Security Council? Because these countries were the most involved in the World War II. That's why United Nations decide to take them as a permanent member of the Security Council. Other 15 elected by the General Assembly for 2 years, right? What are the responsibilities of the Security Council? The Security Council is the main driving body of the United Nations. It put up ideas which have to be approved by the General Assembly. If the matter is urgent, for example, war, a special meeting of the General Assembly is called. The decisions of the Security Council are binding on all United Nations member countries. For more information, Antonio Guterres is the current Secretary of the United Nations. He is the 9th Secretary General of the United Nations. His term began on 1st January 2017. This is the picture of the 9th Secretary General of the United Nations. My dear students, this was our today's lecture. Let's take a recap of today's lecture, that what we had learned today. We learned about the League of the Nations, that in the 1920s, after the World War I, the League of Nations was created to try to prevent future conflicts. But the League of Nations was a failure one. There were many departments that were set up by the League of the Nations, right? After that, in 1946, when the League of Nations was abolished, the United Nations was formed. And the one department, that was the International Court of Justice, it was taken over by the United Nations. We learn about the structure of the United Nations. In today's lecture, we learned about the two departments of the United Nations. The first one was the General Assembly, and the second one was the Security Council, right? These are the two departments, the General Assembly and the Security Council. Let's come to the home task now. The home task is from your previous chapter, that is chapter number 7, Exports and Import of Pakistan. The one long question answered, the one long question that was remained in the previous lecture, that was number 1, what are Pakistan's big 5 exports? This is your home task and you have to do it in your neat notebooks, right? So this is the answer of the Pakistan's big 5 exports item. These 5 items make up almost 3/4 of all Pakistan exports. Number 1 is cotton. You will give your first heading, first subheading, that is cotton is the largest producer. Pakistan is the 4th largest producer of cotton in the world. And cotton is exported in 5 forms: cloth, yarn, thread, raw cotton, and waste. After that, you will give the second heading, that is rayon. The second largest export item is rayon. And it is used to be called the artificial silk. Why? Because it has some of the properties of the real silk. What are the uses of rayon? Rayon is used for clothing, for upholstery, and especially in making of tires for vehicles. You will also write about the rice, that rice is the second largest grain crop at nearly 5 lakh tons a year. Pakistan is fortunate in growing excellent basmati rice, which is highly sought after all over the world and sells at 3 or 4 times the price of the ordinary rice. Number 4 is the sports equipment. It is Pakistan's 4th largest export item, right? There is a plentiful supply of leathers for balls and trees such as willow and ash that provide the raw material for bat, stumps, hockey sticks, and rackets for squash and tennis. Number 5th is carpets. Some carpets are made in factories, but the best are handmade in people's home. The more knots, the harder wearing the carpets, and their price is higher. Expensive carpets are made using the mixture of softer wool and silk. This is the long question from chapter number 7. You have to do this in your neat notebooks, right, my dear students? So, my dear students, thank you so much for listening this. Thanks a lot again. Take care all. Allah Hafiz, my dear students.